Hi Virgo, this is your horoscope for April 2017. Thanks for joining me. Now, from the 3rd of April until the 22nd of April, we have the Sun in Aries conjuncting Uranus in Aries. And a conjunction is when two planets blend their energies together. So the Sun in Aries is very strong and powerful in the sense of I'm going to move ahead and I'm going to progress in my life. Uranus is about rebellion and eccentricity. In Aries, again, it's about really pushing the envelope a little bit and saying, I'm going to do this my way. And both of those sitting together in your 8th house means that if you're part of some sort of organization or institution or a situation where there are strong rules in place and you just have to slot into those, you may have the tendency or the desire to screw with those people a little bit and to put two thumbs up to the rules and to maybe to mess with the powers that be or to mess with authority or to not take those things very seriously and use your judgment on that. Obviously, if it's a very serious situation where you're breaking the law, then obviously don't do that. If you're part of some group which has been super important to you for the last 5 years, and now suddenly you get the idea that it's a load of hogwash and you decide to just ridicule the other members, then that's not such a good idea either. So be aware of this. It can be useful in the sense that it allows you to shake things up if things need to be shaken up. But if it just kind of burns your bridges for the sake of you having a snide little wry laugh, then that really is going to backfire. On the 5th of April until the 25th of August, Saturn goes retrograde. And Saturn is like the head teacher in the astrology. This is the planet that kind of forces you to look at your life, what you're doing with it, and what you ought to be doing with it. When it's in retrograde, though, it's gentler, it's less harsh, and it allows you to review the decisions that you've made, and it allows you to review the structures that you've got in your life. It happens in your 4th house of family for you, Virgo. So you really may become aware of why certain things have happened in your family relationships the way they have. And it may also help you decide what you want things to be like in future and what decisions you can make and what things you can put into place to get that going and to create change. And that obviously, if it relates to family, that's a long-term process, so don't expect things to just happen overnight. On the 9th of April, Mercury, your ruler, goes into retrograde and it stays in retrograde until the 3rd of May. Now, Mercury is in your 9th house, and Mercury retrograde basically makes communication more difficult. So you've got to find different ways of getting the point across. The stereotypical associations are that computers don't work and packages get lost and the phone doesn't ring and communication just becomes stifled and difficult. Mercury sits in your 9th house of education. So if you're a student or if you're studying something, you particularly will be affected by this Mercury retrograde, if I can actually say it, Mercury retrograde. And you need to just make sure what you're studying and what you're looking at is actually right. So if you've made notes from lectures and you're going over those, but the exam is going to be on something totally different, then just make sure that you're looking at the right things at the right time and just double check things before you move ahead with them. The full moon in Libra happens on the 11th of April, and that occurs in your 2nd house of money and belongings. And it's also on top of the good luck planet Jupiter in Libra, and both of them are in your 2nd house. So on this day, you can really expect some sort of financial blessing in your life. On the 15th of April, Venus goes direct. And Venus has been in retrograde since the 4th of March until now, until the 15th of April when it goes direct, and it makes your romantic and your love life situation much easier. Because Venus is in your 7th, you particularly have been affected by relationship misunderstandings and really possibly projecting things onto other people which has nothing to do with them, but which is your stuff. So it's going to become much easier now to discern between what is your stuff, what is the other person's stuff, and you're going to see things more clearly. And you're not going to waste as much time trying to get things to work that just aren't meant to work. So in terms of your love life, romance-wise, it gets much, much better from the 15th of April onwards. On the 20th of April, Pluto goes retrograde. So as I said, everything is going into retrograde this month. And this planet stays in retrograde until the 28th of September. Now think of Pluto in retrograde as the hermit. It's the hermit in the tarot, I mean. It's an old man in this cloak, and he's got this lantern, and he shines this light of truth into the inner world. It's inner illumination, it's enlightenment, okay? That happens in your 5th house of romance and relationship. So these problems that the Venus retrograde has been causing you in your love life ought to have, should have, could possibly have, really have given you some life lessons or have taught you some things which you can integrate and avoid in future. So, you know, none of these things are here to kind of punish us or make things more difficult, but relationships and romance hasn't been particularly easy for Virgo for the last 2 months, okay? Now that it comes out of that and you have that Pluto retrograde, the lessons that you learned from that period are invaluable, and really make sure that you take those on board so you don't have to repeat them and learn the lessons again. And I really think it's become much clearer for you to understand what, if there is a problem, whether it's the other person's problem or whether it's yours, and who deals with what. I think you've become much more clear-headed when it comes to those kind of factors. On the 26th of April, we've got the new moon happening in Taurus, and this pulls new energy in. So I will make separate videos on the full moon and the new moon, which goes into a lot more detail, but this new moon will really encourage you to continue learning, growing, traveling, expanding, again, both intellectually and on a physical level. It is in Taurus, so the 26th of April would be a great day for an outing, for you to do something with other people, to go on a little trip. It's a Wednesday, so it's not ideal in terms of the placement of the week, but plan to do, if you can get out in nature, if you can take a couple of minutes just to connect, that in itself will give you a real sense of fulfillment, because a new moon does pull energy in. So that's what I get for you this month. I hope you have a wonderful month ahead. If you'd like a private reading with me based on your birth chart, which I can draw up by using your place of birth, date of birth, and time of birth, then please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. Click on the Readings tab to order your reading. Please remember to subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I'll speak to you next month.